Thank you for having us at your place. This is awesome.
Happy to have you.
Thank you, Amber. Good to see you again.
Can you tell us about the spread you have here?
So I have some focaccias ready for you guys. I have a basic plain Italian focaccia, which is just thyme, and then I have some things that I've kind of messed with my own little things that I've done at home because I dehydrated my own figs. So that would be the one that's right in front of you, chopped up with some grapes on top of it.
This guy.
Yes. And then the other one right here that is kind of a little bowl shape because I wanted to give you guys a little variety of texture and what they could look like. That one has basil, some orange zest, some pesto mixture, and some Swiss chard.
How long does it take to make something like this?
Preparation and baking entirely about 45 minutes.
And you cook each one separate, or is it one and go?
It really depends on what you're doing with them, but it's such an easy recipe and it's an easy thing to work with that you could do multiple of them at the same time. Usually with baking, you don't like to multiply a recipe because it doesn't come out happy. But this is, like I said, such an easy recipe to work with that you can make multiple of them. And like I did all these doughs at the same time and just separated them. So I was able to do multiple things with the same dough.
Oh, nice. What's the secret behind the yeast?
The yeast is what makes its beautiful rise happen, and a traditional focaccia is usually just about this high. So these ones get a little bit fatter and bigger depending on the amount of yeast that you add to it.
Oh, so you can actually add different amounts of yeast to bread and make it rise
To
different?
make it rise higher.
Oh, isn't that
And it
interesting?
will make it a little bit looser as well, so you get fatter holes in your pockets.
Yeast always is the hard part for me. What kind of yeast do you use? Are you using active or instant or regular yeast?
I make my own.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, so
So
you have
the
your
white
little
yeast.
culture then?
Yes.
Well, isn't that fun?
Organisms.
Where
Yes.
do you keep it?
In my garage,
Oh, funny.
yes. But right now, so it's been getting really, really hot now. It's inside the house in the
Oh,
corner.
yeah. Well, isn't that funny? I read about that once.
But that's where all my little projects get conducted in the garage.
When did you get inspired to start doing things like this, cooking, and we'll get into more about what you actually do, but just curious as to how you got started.
In my early 20s, I think, is when I really kind of branched out. My brother was always someone that really was fascinated by going and eating at a restaurant and actually replicating, that meal. So it's just like, you don't have to have it at a restaurant. I can make this at home. And so I was really inspired by that. So that's how I started doing my cooking. As far as my career really launching off, a good friend, Gabriel Wu, gave me my first opportunity working in a restaurant as the guest chef. And I've just kind of been going at it with that since then. So he's been kind of my curator of my career.
What establishment were you working out of with Mr. Wu?
Farm.
And where is that?
He used to own a catering company called Global Kitchen, which I started with him. I've bounced around with him to several different companies that he's worked for. But Farm is a little boutique restaurant in downtown Palm Springs.
Great. So you're doing your thing in the desert. It started in the desert, and you're continuing to do it in the desert with things like Splash House. Robert was telling me you're involved in. Could you tell us about that relationship?
Yes, I actually pitched an idea to the owner of the property, who's Robert DeLeon, and DeLeon Properties, and he has 3 or 4 different properties that are in Cathedral City and one that is in Sky Valley, which is Sky Valley Ranch. And I exclusively work just for him, and so since that, I have been able to branch out and create my own catering company and have my own list of clients, and it's just kind of popped off since then.
Is it a one person deal, or do you have people that you work with down the line when you're preparing for multiple guests, or is it all on you?
It's all on me.
Which is a big undertaking, I'm
It is a
sure.
very big undertaking.
You gotta cook, clean, and
Cook, clean, and depending
Everything
on
but
what
so.
it is, yes. Delivering, prepping, depending on what somebody wants, I could do a hot delivered meal in the morning, or I do a kind of a filled refrigerator of prepped items that you could have throughout your entire stay.
and for specific clients, like I'm sure there's vegan, there's vegetarian, there's
Yes, I create
allergic reactions to certain products you have to be aware of.
Yes, I create menus for the guests personally when I interact with them. It makes it easier to not have to alternate things that I've made on a previous menu.
How does that generally work when you're working with somebody, when you're saying, do you ask them like a list of questions?
That's my exact first thing is allergies. So like get that out the window. Allergies, dislikes, and then from there they kind of let me play with that, to stay away from type of thing. And, do you want cold foods? Do you want hot foods? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on what it is that they want. And it's fun because it allows them to be part of the experience by creating a menu with me.
Is there anybody that you can mention on camera that you've cooked for, celebrity-wise, or is that all?
I can say that I have cooked for some James Beard Award winners. I don't remember what their names are.
That's fine. I'm just wondering how with Splash House, I'm sure everybody kind of comes in and
yes.
comes in.
So I've been working with him for the past couple of months. So it's kind of just branched off and just started and just hit up really hard. So kind of, for instance, what we're doing right now is that I'm kind of slowly doing something, and you guys contacted me. So it's little by little, things have just went from being very small and started speeding up really, really fast.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
So what? Person rents the house, and then they get a personal chef with the house. Is that how?
They have an option. So they have the option to do cooking classes, which would just be baking, or to have a personal chef guest come and cook for them, or to have deliveries if they kind of have, uncomfort with having someone that they don't know staying in their rental house.
So you'll come to their house and you'll teach them how to cook for the whole day or half a day? Or?
No, it's 5 hours.
Oh, that's fun.
They do for 5 hours.
So do you do all 3 meals? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
No.
As far as prepping and all that good stuff?
So as far as that's concerned, we're doing hot meals for breakfast, and then everything else would be, if they wanted more, would be prepared lunch-wise inside the refrigerator, and then I'd come back for dinner and do dinner.
Oh, wow.
So lunch is always prepared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What inspired this layout for us today?
My favorites and my comfort and just things that I love and the easy things. People think that cooking is really difficult, and it's not. What you have in front of you is a tomato salad with purple onions, chives, cilantro, a little bit of basil, salt, pepper, and balsamic oil. It's super easy and it's super yummy.
How many different types of tomatoes are there?
There are 2 different types of tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had
There's a
tomato
variety of
salad
grape
before.
tomatoes, but then just large
Uh-huh.
ones.
Uh-huh.
And so you use the zest from the lemon, and then can you just tell us about what you have here? I'm
Yes,
sure most people
so-
know, but for the people that don't know what we're looking at.
Yes, so I have, right here has the zest from the lemon on that, so that's where that came from. And the herbs that are in front of Robert, other than the cilantro, all came from my backyard.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep a garden going when it's 120 out?
Very difficult. A lot of things have died.
Same with my garden. I had to put a lot of plants to rest, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. But my lemon tree is like the one area of the house that just kind of sucks up and absorbs everything. So those herbs underneath that, baby is where everything's still
That's the
flourishing.
mama tree, yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Lemon trees are great to have. That's great. Just pick one off and
Mm-hmm.
go to town with that. So you have spices. What are these here?
That's actually dried mint, rosemary, and oregano. So the mint is from my backyard, and the other 2 are not.
That's really great that you pull from your own garden. I mean, that's something you really don't have to do, but you do it, and that's pretty awesome, actually.
Yes, it makes it, a lot more capable of doing things that are maybe last minute, like just kind of, okay, yeah, I walk in my backyard and get what I need to, create anything rather than having to run to the store and do any shopping.
What else are you growing in the back, or where you're growing?
Cherry tomatoes. So I got cherry tomatoes in the backyard. These beautiful little Japanese chives
Well, that's
are
awesome.
actually from the backyard as well.
Oh, you can smell them.
Yeah. We got large leaf basil and Thai basil. So there's 2 of those there. And mint.
Are you growing them in dirt?
Yes.
Have you tried or thought about hydroponics yet?
I have not. I have all the equipment to do it. I just haven't, made it happen yet.
There's this one in Legoland. There's this really neat thing. It's a PVC pipe about so big, and they have all these holes in it, and just a zigzag, and all the different, and the water just runs through, and it just recirculates, and it's just right there in these little. It's the most amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how easy it is.
So let's see here. So when you pull this out of the ground, it looks just like this, right?
Yes.
How how much, like, what's the yield on something like that? Or do you just have a huge bush, or like, how does it work with that kind of stuff?
It actually just grows wild. They have these cute little flowers that bud off of them. So this one in particular, I have all over my backyard. And yeah, so this right here, if I were to remove all of that and chop it up, would probably be a half of a cup.
Nice. So what gave you the inspiration to plant these things? Just like things that you're always coming in contact with, or you always need this, or just something that you know is easy to grow in the desert?
I take advantage of my sales because I love, saving money. So Lowe's actually had a great sale on a bunch of seeds, and I just came up on 300 packs of just anything. They're just 10 cents.
And they just sprouted up.
Boom, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you follow like is there certain types of year to plant these vegetables or fruits and all that kind of stuff?
Definitely more along the lines of when they flourish. So I have a bunch of things in my backyard that kind of go dormant, like onions. There's some onions in the backyard, but onions that are not doing anything right now, and they look like they wouldn't be doing anything, and they're going to come up with some beautiful flowers sometime in October.
Nice. So what's your plan? I mean, we're doing this podcast, we're kind of highlighting what you're doing in your career now. What do you see as like, this is the next adventure for my passion?
I have been able to get past, what it is that I've never liked, and having a boss and having to work for somebody else. So I'm able to stay at home with my son and, spend all my full time with him, which is really great because, he could come with me on my deliveries and everybody loves him. But it gives me the opportunity to stay at home with him and be around my son and still make really good money.
When you pack things up, do you do it like the Domino's guy when you have one of those things, or how does that work? Do you use an ice chest?
I like to do the plating, and that was kind of the deal with Robert, is that if I was going to do this, I needed to do it, in my own dishes. I didn't want
the presentation.
Yes. So that's kind of my thing, is liking to have a spread out of everything, which is kind of why I have some things for you guys to see here. Because when I do present a meal for people, I kind of like to keep everything separate, so you have that eye appeal of all these different colors and these things and garnishings, and then you throw them together yourselves. But yeah, I kind of like to work with a lot of different things and just mix up my recipes that I've already, I'll do the same thing with different herbs every time and just fluidly try to change and see what it is that just works perfectly. Which is how you guys got this amazing tomato salad.
No, it looks great, most definitely. So again, how long did these take to make?
Altogether, preparation 45 minutes.
And is this something that somebody orders? Is this more considered an appetizer?
The bread is the only thing that someone could actually go ahead and ask me, like, around the clock, any time of the day, to do a bread delivery. That's an option. The food would be pre-booked and would have to have at least a week ahead of time to know that we're going to have guests here.
Have you done preparations for parties, things like that, like large amounts of people, or is it generally just one guy?
So I have my own vendor now, and his name is Jeff. He's creating his own company, so he doesn't have a labeled name yet, but he is working out of Engardia. And that's kind of how I got in contact with him, and he does all my large deliveries. So if I have a large party, he'll come with everything pre-chopped and pre-cut.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yes.
That's very time efficient.
Yes.
So is that like a kitchen kind of thing, a warehouse or something, or?
Yeah, they're out of Redlands.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So do they do
But
that
he
prep,
lives here in Cathedral City, so it makes sense to him to be able to go back and forth.
prep stuff, or I guess they prep stuff for restaurants all over the
They
place?
prep for Tropical.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, amazing.
So they just have things on ice, just whatever you want, pull it. It's like a SKU number. How do you do it? You say, I need this, I need that. I'm just curious how it works when you're ordering.
I need this size cut, I need this ounce, pound, whatever it is, and he makes it happen.
Have you ever done a job where there wasn't something that you needed and you had to improvise and you had to figure things out?
Oh yeah, and that's just one of those things where you bite the bullet, and then if the guest doesn't know it's not supposed to be there, they improvise on not including it, or that's when I get into my Instacart and I do my, within 2-hour delivery. And I love Instacart because I could continue the process of what I'm doing while I have somebody.
So I'm new to this whole thing. So what is Instacart? What is that?
Instacart is an awesome app, just like Uber Eats and things like that, but it's groceries that get delivered to you. And there's 5 different stores that you could use. And what's really cool is that you get an automatic Costco membership, just getting this.
So it's through Kirkland or Costco? Is that how it is? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah, because it's all in bulk usually, and it seems like that's the way to buy if you're taking something so serious.
It's pretty awesome. It's $99 a year, and if you consider spending $5 3 times a month on gas, it just makes up for itself entirely.
So they deliver it from the Costco's here, or is it a corporate Costco that they come out from?
Costco here, Stater Brothers.
Because we have about 2 locations. We have one in La Quinta and then one in Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, right?
Yes.
The border kind of.
So they would generally be the stores that are closest, because it's kind of the same thing like Uber Eats. It's the personal driver.
By mile, by time, by tip.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so when you're paying for something like that, you have to, put into thought, I'm paying for this much. I have to make sure my return is,
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that's a whole juggling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, going back to growing your own, that saves you,
It does. And what's really cool about the buying in bulk is it kind of saves my personal shopping. If I need to buy, a huge amount of something, I just cut that in half, and I did my home shopping as well.
So how many clients, if you can say, are you working under right now, or is it just the one sole?
I have Robert that I'm working for, and I have 2 other private clients that I work for that I see.
And that keeps you plenty busy, which is great.
Yes.
Because you're not overwhelmed with, this guy, that guy, this party, that. I'm sure it's very organized.
Yeah, right now, since it's just me, it works out perfectly, because I get the return as far as the spending and my labor, and the 2 other clients that I'm working for, everything's pre-prepped. So it's just I kind of go into their house when they're there, when they're not there, fill their kitchen, the refrigerator, and then I'm out. It's just super simple and easy, but it's beneficial, for those people, because not everybody likes to cook. Not everyone has the time to do it. And having things that are easy, that are chopped and ready to just toss into anything, because you could put it in a salad or you could cook with it. It's just, the manner of not making the mess before you do the preparation.
Yeah. So we're in summertime now. It's getting real hot, obviously, outside for the people that are watching the video once it's up. But say for a summer spread, what would you do? What would be like? You have this here, but what would be something else that you would present?
So summer spread, I would try to do some things like this, some salads. I would pre-cook some salmon, but have it cold so it'd be plated for salads. And I just started making my own popsicles.
How does that work?
So it is actually really fun. It's just really cool little basic recipes, but I have these machines that you fill up the entire basin, and they just twist and pop out. So it's really, really easy, just cookie dough recipes with an addition of some coconut milk, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything that you'd like to plug? Can we talk about your Instagram so that people watching can follow you and actually see what you're doing?
Yes, Multimorsi is my catering company, and that's how you would find me on Instagram, MOLTIMORSI. And I just started it probably 2 weeks ago. So I'm just kind of kicking off from that. And I do have my old Instagram that I've been locked out of, which I've associated at the top of it. So anybody that sees it can see it says OGIG.
That's great. I want to thank you for showing us what you're doing here. And Robert, I really appreciate letting us come here and getting to know a local desert chef that's doing something amazing in the community. So that's great.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Amber.
Awesome.